This video is for partial fulfillment of Dr. Perkins' Education and Urban Community class at Xavier University of Louisiana. Before I get into the meat of the conversation of what I want to go in today, I want to let everybody know, regardless of your capacity in education, or whether you're a community member or a leader, a parent, or a professional in educational policy, we all have a duty that in our capacity to make change to give every student in Louisiana the best educational opportunity possible. It goes without saying that we cannot just give students equal resources, but we must give each student the resources necessary to be successful. That at the end of their high school career, they can work, go to a four-year university, or learn a trade because that's the choice that they have, not what they're forced to do because of the resources not given to them during their schooling career. Following the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, many major changes happened across Louisiana. In New Orleans specifically, the entire education system was overhauled. No longer was it the prevalence of neighborhood schools and select magnet schools for public education. But after Hurricane Katrina came the start of the system of charter schools. Charter schools are their own agency, LEA, entrusted to serve the students of New Orleans, and they have their own governing board. This was done so charter schools could have autonomy from district offices to educate students how they best feel utilizing best research practices. New Orleans was the only area in the country with an all charter school system, but this led to many issues. With all these numerous LEAs running various charter schools, singular or multiple charter schools in an organization, such as KIP and Renew, came issues of fiscal responsibility, accountability, and concerns over discipline and special education policies. But this was all done to push the narrative of school choice. School choice is a narrative that parents should have the option to send their student to the type of school that they feel is necessary. So in New Orleans, through one app, a parent has multiple options to send the children. Since it's their tax money and it's their kids, the type of school choice supporters say should be their choice. Unfortunately, many parents do not receive admission from the school that they choose number one or number two or number three for their students through the one app system. And there are no neighborhood schools in Orleans. So one has a question, is this really school choice? Another school choice option in Louisiana is the Louisiana Scholarship Program. If a student is in a low income family and attends a underachieving school, that student will be eligible to attend a participating private school in lieu of the underachieving public school. This is another option for students in Orleans and outside of Orleans for school choice options. But similar to charter schools, the oversight is limited. Participating private schools are not held accountable as they should be, and top private schools do not participate in the program. Both school choice options cut money out of public education. In charter schools, Singular schools have difficulties striving long term because of the costs associated with running a charter school. By being under a public district, regular neighborhood schools are able to absorb costs that the district provides and is able to spread out. Voucher programs are funded by public education monies. The monies in public education follow the student. Therefore, when the student leaves a underperforming public school for a participating private school, the money follows that child. The school that the child left does not receive any resources or any extra monies to supplement from that child leaving. Many call this the path to privatization, means privatizing public education, where charter school and charter school boards can receive money to educate kids, and participating private schools can receive money educating students, thus taking the onus away from the public education system. Some deem that this is unconstitutional. You may be wondering, why is the presenter giving me this information? Well, this is an area that interests the presenter in public education, specifically in the greater New Orleans area and in Louisiana. But regardless of where your heart lies in education, we must all work together to ensure that students are receiving instruction, materials, and that there are adequate, more than adequate, policies in place that allow for students to receive appropriate public education, but public education that will give them opportunities to be successful in society. Not a public education that gives everyone the same resources, but that gives each student an individual plan and gives that student the resources to be successful. So where our low income kids will need the extra after school tutoring, will need the low classroom sizes, will need the experienced teachers. For example, as a school principal, one must ensure that the African American boys are not being mistreated any more differently than any students. That there's not a balance of overbalance of African American boys in discipline troubles or in discipline statistics, thereby supporting the prison to pop line matter. A principal must ensure fair practice for all, that restorative and conscious discipline practices are used, that young black men, young black boys, and young black men are not the majority special education classified, but make up minority of the school. One must make sure that all students are not stereotyped, that teachers do not have a bias, and that all students are given a fair chance to succeed at your school. As a teacher, one must make sure one does not have any biases against the students. One must treat all students fairly in special education and discipline. One must ensure that discipline practices are equal. One must ensure that one is not classifying a set group of students as needing special ed. One must not try to mold these students into you need to sit down, but actually let the students engage in the classroom. As a parent, one must try to be aware of educational policies. One must do their best to be involved in their students' education. One must do their best to provide opportunity for their students to be successful at school. Education policy makers and workers who work for the Louisiana Department of Education must ensure that policies are in place for all students to succeed, that early childhood programs are available for the students most in need, that classroom sizes are small for the students most in need, that experienced teachers are given to students who are most in need. Multiple research has shown that students of low income need these supports in order to best succeed in the classroom. Also, universities can more work to inform and teach potential teachers on not only effective classroom management strategies, but how to really reach and teach difficult students, how to work with students who are unmotivated, and to how to work with students who may not be like them, and also for community members to be aware of the educational policy, even if you are not a parent, because the same students in your area, in your parish, that are receiving these education are going to be the same students who grow up to be members of your community, who will be workers in your community. One should aim for their community to be an educated community, thereby increasing the monies that the community is bringing in. So I brought all of this matter to everyone's attention to basically say that in regardless of your capacity in education, we must not make sure everybody gets the same books, everybody gets the same technology. We really need to make sure that our resources are going to the students who need them the most, thereby giving everybody an equal playing field. And with great power comes great responsibility. So, with that being said, regardless of your capacity in education, or if not in education, regardless if you're a community leader, community member, professor, a professional who works at the Louisiana Department of Education, an educational policymaker. You work in a nonprofit. Use what you can. Use your platform to ensure that whatever students you can affect, you affect positively. That you give every student that you come across the chance to be successful by not utilizing stereotypical practices, by utilizing practices that assist each student in reaching their goal.